Today I'm going to give you guys a long overdue video of my trunk setup. I did a two-part series of doing the bag install. I think the first part was doing actually installing the struts, and second part was running the Airlines and basically just setting up the whole thing. But I've had a lot of interest in the trunk setup. I spent the entire winter doing it. I'm pretty proud of it, so I figured now's the time. May as well do the trunk setup review. Let's go. So this is the trunk setup that I'm talking about. So I did all of this myself. I did an hour or two every couple days after work. So it took a while, but it's done, and it honestly was almost getting as much attention as the molded wide body at shows throughout the entire year. So I'm very proud of how it turned out. So in that two-part video that I was talking about earlier, it actually showed how I ran all the Airlines and went into depth on how I set it up. So I'm not going to talk about that in this video. The only thing I will show you quickly is from each bag, I ran it up through the firewall and then down the door sill, across, up, popped it through the trunk, and then it's underneath the vinyl flooring I have in the trunk. So that's how I got the lines from the bags to the trunk. And if you want more detail on that, go ahead and watch the two-part series. I actually bent up all the hard lines myself. I'll show you what tools I used to do that. Two compressors mounted below in the wheel well. I took the spare tire out, and then obviously the tank is mounted and the manifold is mounted, and I'll show you quick the tools that I used to do the hard lines. It's honestly pretty hard. You need to have a lot of patience, but you need a pipe bender. So this one is good for, I believe, 1/8, 1/4, and 3/8 line. I have 3/8 line, so it was perfect, and it's got all your degrees there. So it's an easy tool to use. It's just, it takes a lot of thought where you need to bend it, and then especially on the lines that have bends going in two different directions, it's hard to, you gotta turn the line a certain way, then bend it, and hopefully it lines up with your opposite bend. So it's a long process. It takes a while. I would order extra piping because I had to. So order extra right off the bat. You'll thank yourself later. Airlift gives you this. This is for the soft lines. So you just stick the line in there and chop it. It's easy to use. You just got to make sure your cuts are nice and square, or else you will have leaks. Pipe cutter, a little better view of it. So you turn this dial and you can see that wheel gets closer to here, and then you just spin your pipe inside, around and around and around, and then you tighten it and you spin it again, and then you tighten it and you spin it again, and then eventually it'll just fall off. And then what I did was I just hit the edge of the hard line with sandpaper after I cut it, because this leaves a pretty aggressive, almost like a bevel on the end of it. So I just put sandpaper flat on the table, got my hard line, and just rubbed it quick, 2 seconds, just to break the edge. That will also ensure no leaks. So prep your lines, do it right. yes, it gets frustrating, but it's a must. You have to prep your lines. With your soft lines, cut them square, they won't leak. With your hard lines, cut them square, sand them down, they won't leak. Those are the 3 main tools I used. There was a couple of these involved as well, not to mention. And obviously, tape measure, pencil, but the speed square honestly helped me quite a bit. I wouldn't say you need it, but it definitely makes it easier. You can check and make sure your bend is perfectly 90. So another thing I forgot to mention, on like all your threaded fittings, you need like Teflon tape. Air and water will always find a way to leak. So definitely use Teflon tape. It's cheap, it's easy to do, and it's just an extra preventative measure to ensure that you're not going to have any leaks. I was frustrated because I got this kit brand new. I ordered the full, I got 3H kit, but I didn't end up using the height sensors. So if anyone wants height sensors, they're brand new. They're sitting right there. Let me know. I'll sell you them for a good price. But I am just running the 3P. I bought it brand new. And right out of the box, I had a crack in one of the compressor heads. So that was leaking. And 4 out of the 6 cartridges on the manifold were also leaking. So very frustrating. Brand new. 2 problems. I bought the kit and then I didn't start the install for a couple months. The car just wasn't ready to bag yet. So that 3-month period where I didn't install was my warranty. So when I finally found out about the crack and the leaks, I emailed Bag Riders, and it was like day 94 of a 90-day warranty. So I was out of pocket for new compressor head, 6 new cartridges, had to change them all myself. I also made a video on how to do that. It's honestly easy. So if you are having leaking cartridges, order new ones, change them yourself. Super easy and gets rid of a massive headache. So check out that other video if you do need to know how to do that. But Teflon tape, it's a must. Get it, use it, and thank me later. So if anybody's interested in where I got all my fittings and everything, and where I ordered extra hardline, you can leave a comment and I will try and get back to you on the site that I used to get it. They're not cheap. I'd rather spend the money, do it right. So yeah, basically these lines punch right through the floor and connect to a soft line on the bottom, which you can see them all under here, which is the one thing that I don't like about this trunk setup. No one really brought it up or mentioned it just because I think there's too much other stuff to look at, but I did it, I see it. I'm debating this winter taking it all apart, and I kind of want to try and put like almost a wall up around the compressors, if that makes sense, so that you can't see any soft lines, or I don't want those to be visible. So if I somehow put a wall between this level and that level down there all the way around, then it'll kind of like complete the trunk setup and have it more of a finished look. So I'm debating on doing that. It's gonna be a lot of work. I'm kind of enjoying not working on the car right now because this version of the build took a lot of time. So I'm happy it's done and I'm just enjoying it. But come winter, I mean, I'm not going to be driving it, so we'll see. Maybe I'll tear it apart and try and make it better. Okay, one thing I just thought of, which honestly I don't know if I ever showed in a video, like, ever. So I'm going to show you now. My controller, I actually molded into the center console. So I went along with the whole molded wide body theme. Kept it going, why not? I got rid of that cubby completely, and I kind of miss having a spot to put my phone, but this just looks better. So molded into the center console, which honestly, it looks really good. I love it there. And yes, my car is disgusting. I need to detail it really bad. We've been so busy, and we've just had stuff going on every weekend. It's been hectic, so don't judge me. I guess one of the most important parts of the trunk setup is actually the LED lights. I mean, it seems silly and it's simple, but without that you wouldn't be able to see anything. So I have LED strips below this level of vinyl lighting up the compressors, and then I have more LED strips up top lighting up this level. They're super bright, and it honestly just looks amazing. But I actually wired it to the trunk light right there. So I just put the wires right into the trunk light. So I'll show you quick. If I close my trunk, the lights are off. And if I open my trunk, the lights will turn on. So that's a great way of doing it. If you do a trunk setup and you want lights, wire it to your trunk light. There's no switch. It makes it so easy. You open the trunk, the lights turn on. You close the trunk, the lights turn off. It's the way to go. These are the lights that I used. I just got this off Amazon. I got an extra roll here, but I've had them in for a few months now, and I love them. I've never had an issue with them, and they were relatively cheap, so it's a perfect way to showcase your trunk setup. It was my first time doing it, so I'm stoked with how it turned out. But I don't know, maybe down the road too I'll do some crazy hardline setup. But for now, I'm happy with it. I love it. Everyone else seems to love it. At shows, their heads are just stuck in the trunk. Yeah. At shows, don't touch people's cars. I just thought of that because I had a lanyard holding my trunk up, and I have a carbon fiber trunk. So if you've opened a carbon fiber trunk before, you know it flies up. So if you don't hold it, it's gonna fly and hit your windshield. And someone was messing with my trunk at a show, and they closed it, they opened it, and then they just let it go, and it flew, and it snapped the lanyard, like this buckle. It fully snapped the buckle on the lanyard, and my trunk flew up and hit my windshield at a show. So I know all of you guys know this, but please don't touch people's cars at car shows. It's not cool. It's not a dealership. You can't just start doing what you want. Those are people's actual cars. Sorry, just a little rant there, because that's my pet peeve. So that's basically a quick review of my trunk setup completed. I do wish that when I was actually doing it, I got more footage of me bending the lines and trying to figure out like what I'm doing basically. But it was just such a long process, and I didn't know what I was doing. It's my first time doing it. And I also kind of made up the trunk as I was going. Like, I kind of knew what I wanted to do before starting, but I had no idea what it was going to end up looking like. So I just felt like if I videoed it, it was going to be all over the place and I would look confused, and it just wouldn't be much help. But now looking back, I wish I did video it, but it's just one of those things. It's done now. So if you have questions or anything, please comment, like reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, whatever you want. I'm more than willing to help. I know how hard it is because it was my first time, so if I can help someone else make it easier, then I'm happy to do that. I still can't believe that the car is at this stage. I've always dreamt of a bagged, wide-body WRX, and I still can't believe it. Like, one of one fenders, molded wide body, just everything on this car is absolutely perfect, and I could not be any happier. So, one more look at the trunk setup. There you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do a trunk setup, send me pictures. I want to see it, because I was obsessed with looking up trunk setups before I started mine. My phone was just full of people's trunk setups to get like ideas. So show me yours. I want to see it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.